I mean, you have to. Like, I see so many people saying, I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And you can't afford not to make a change, you know? Like, Tony Robbins says it's not a lack of resources that keeps people stuck, it's a lack of resourcefulness.
Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have a guest on, Miss Rachel Ngom. And I thought this one was very interesting because a lot of people talk about LinkedIn and Facebook as lead generation for their business, but she talks about Pinterest, and I thought that that was so interesting that I had to have her on the show. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into talking about your business and using Pinterest, let us know a little bit about your background.
Yeah, got my master's in social work and lived in Africa for a little bit. We lived in France as well. Couldn't find a job with my master's, ended up struggling financially and started my own business out of more desperation to not like, oh, I'm going to be a business owner, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. It was just like, all right, we need to take care of our son, and it grew beyond what I ever thought was possible, and saw a lot of success with Pinterest, and ended up just figuring out, hey, other entrepreneurs need to know about this, and started this business almost 3 years ago. And it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, what part of Africa were you living in?
I lived in Kenya and in Senegal. And so I actually met my husband in Senegal.
Okay, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Now, how long were you there?
6 months in Kenya, 6 months in Senegal, and we'll probably be ending up moving back there in a year.
Okay, okay. Well, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Awesome. So now, when it came down to starting this business, I mean, with Pinterest, like what really sparked your interest with Pinterest?
I I didn't really have this huge interest. My first business was in the fitness space, and I built my Facebook fan page to 50,000 followers, Instagram to 20,000. And back in like 2012, 2013, it worked really well. Like, life was good. You could easily make a post and see like all these comments and make money. Like, oh, it was awesome. And the great logarithm change happened, and it just was not working the way it used to. So I knew I had to figure something else out, and I just started blogging and putting my blog up on Pinterest. And I didn't have this huge strategy or anything behind it, but I had noticed that I was getting more traffic to my website. And I looked at Google Analytics, and I saw I had 34,000 people every month coming to my blog from Pinterest.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, I think I'm onto something here. Like, this is pretty cool.
Nice. Now, I guess coming from a social worker's background, how did you even get into just starting to understand Google Analytics and just blogging? Like, where did that come from?
Just investing in myself and my own personal development. And so I learned really quickly you have to grow as an entrepreneur, and you have to make some investments in yourself. And so the first investment that I made, it was a big one back in 2012, 2013 when we were struggling. And it was like $450 a month for 6 months, which was like $1 million at the
Yeah.
time. It was huge. But I learned so much about Facebook and Instagram and like Google Analytics and blogging and so much, and took that investment, was able to create a six-figure business within 2 years from it. And so I that's where like everything started pretty much.
Awesome, awesome. And I think that's always so inspiring and interesting to hear just where people take the chance to invest in themselves, and develop something.
I mean, you have to. Like, I see so many people saying, I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And you can't afford not to make a change, you know? Like, Tony Robbins says it's not a lack of resources that keeps people stuck, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And so you'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Mhm. Now, tell us a little bit about, the service that your business provides and how people can use that to grow their business.
So we teach a couple of different things. We teach Pinterest and Pinterest marketing. So how to actually get started using Pinterest for your business, how to generate leads through it. And then we teach the monetization behind that. And so we have an online course, Pin with Purpose, and that teaches Pinterest marketing. Then we have our group coaching program Activate, and that teaches more of the monetization strategy. So we're working with the purpose-driven entrepreneur, and they want to figure out how can they make money working from home, kind of like how we've been able to, how they can figure out how to travel the world. We do a lot of teaching how to create an online course because that generates that passive income that a lot of my students crave.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Now, are there any particular type of businesses that you target, or I guess is it any type of business can work with
As long as they have a desire to create a multiple income streams. And so an example would be one of my students, she has her own CBD and essential oil company, and I'm teaching her how to create an online course to go with that so she can have multiple streams of income. Because I think a lot of people have figured out with COVID-19 that you can't be reliant on just one income stream, because that could easily be taken away from us, right? Like without, it's just like it's there one day, the next day it's gone. So I'm a big proponent of teaching people how do you create something different, something passive.
you? Now, when working with so many people, are there any like common, I guess, say, misconceptions or fears that people tend to have when it comes to doing something like that?
Maybe the fear of the unknown or fear of making the investment into themselves. And so that's a big thing. In our programs, we always focus on personal development. And so I was watching a video yesterday with TD Jakes and Tony Robbins, and I'm sharing that with my students. And I'm like, you need to learn this. You need to work on your mindset because your business will only grow as much as you grow. And so the biggest thing that I see that keeps people stuck is themselves and their own way of thinking.
Mhm. And I think that that's an interesting thing because that's something a mentor of mine told me like years ago of just developing this habit of, being obsessive about growing you. Because it's like if you can
Yes.
effectively grow you, it's like it'll be a lot easier to grow a business, to grow a career, to, be a good husband, to be a good father some days. Like if you can focus on growing you, it'll cascade into other areas of your life.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
Mhm. So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to take part in your services and hire your business?
Yeah, so we have our podcast, our blog on Instagram. Everything is at She's Making an Impact. So you can get started there. We have our free Pinterest cheat sheet. If you want to learn more about how to use Pinterest for your business, just go to pinwithrachel.com, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about your podcast. So, what is your podcast about, and where are the platforms people can find that?
iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much every podcast platform, and it's really helping the entrepreneur grow. We're providing different strategies, so it could be branding or podcasting. We've talked LinkedIn, we've talked Pinterest, obviously, but we also bring on people to talk more about like the mindset. So sometimes I'll do like short solo episodes where I'm teaching mindset, email growth strategies, pretty much everything that I think that my ideal client, like the purpose-driven entrepreneur, needs to get to that next level.
Okay, awesome. And so, how did you come up with the name for your business?
She's making an impact. It was kind of just like a download from God. I don't know. I was just like, I need to come up with something because my name is not easy to say or spell. That's what happens when you marry someone from West Africa. It used to be so easy. I was Henderson, was my maiden name. Now it's Ngom, but it's fine. So I knew I needed something simple, and it was just like, who do I want to work with? What do I want to be known for? How do I really want to serve people? And I truly believe that the more money your business makes, the greater impact that you can have on the world. And so She's Making an Impact was kind of born.
I completely understand that. My wife she's half Kenyan and half Nigerian. So her mom is Kenyan, her dad's Nigerian.
Love
And
it.
so when it came down to the names, yeah, we I think our first couple dates were me practicing how to properly pronounce her name.
Yes. That's awesome.
So I can definitely relate to that. Awesome. So one question that I like to ask all the business owners and entrepreneurs that come onto the show is, what's one or two pieces of wisdom that you picked up in the process of starting and running your business?
Have a mentor is one of the biggest things. Find someone who's been there before you. It's going to save so many years off of you trying to just like go on YouTube and Google and figure it out on your own. We talked about focusing on your own personal growth. That's huge. And then the last thing is just be consistent and persistent. I think a lot of people give up too quickly when they don't see results overnight. And so you have to show up on a consistent basis, add massive value to your ideal client, and just be so persistent and stubborn and to never give up.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you so much for sharing the wisdom. We'll definitely share the link so people can follow you on all the social media, as well as people can check out your podcast, because it definitely sounds like an awesome podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Well, you have a good one, and we will definitely keep in touch and see where you're going, where she is making an impact, is going, and all the success that you're having.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms as the Business Talk Library.